Growing up, I was always the responsible one. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and at 25 years old, I can trace this trait back to the moment I first learned to count. While my younger sister Lisa spent her pennies on candy and the latest toys, I was tucking mine away in a savings jar. Our parents never pointed out the difference between us. Maybe they noticed, maybe they didn't. Or maybe, deep down, they knew exactly what they were doing. "Sarah, honey, can you help me with the bills?" Mom's voice carried that familiar edge of worry as she called me into the kitchen. I was 16, balancing a part-time job at the grocery store while maintaining straight A's. Lisa, 2 years younger, was likely at the mall, spending her allowance on whatever was trending that week. I sat at our worn kitchen table, sorting through a mountain of overdue notices. Dad's construction business had hit yet another rough patch, and we were struggling, or at least, that's what they told me. "Don't worry, Mom," I reassured her, reaching into my hard-earned savings. "I can cover the electric bill this month." That was the first time. It wouldn't be the last. 9 years later, I was at my desk at Preston & Associates, where I worked as a financial analyst, when my phone buzzed with yet another message from Mom. "Emergency. Need to borrow $2,000. Will pay back next month. Love you." I sighed and pulled on my banking app. It had become routine. My money, their emergencies. Every month a new crisis. Car repairs, medical bills, house maintenance. Yet, I'd never seen a single receipt. Still, they were my parents. They wouldn't lie to me. Lisa, on the other hand, was living the dream. My Instagram feed was flooded with her posts. Exotic beaches, luxury hotels, designer shopping sprees. "Just living my dreams," her captions read, while I clocked overtime hours to keep up with another so-called emergency. Then, one Wednesday afternoon, my phone rang. "Hey, responsible sister." Lisa's voice was bright, almost smug. "Did you see my latest post? Paris is amazing." Paris. My coffee nearly slipped from my grasp. "I thought you were between jobs," I said, confusion tightening my chest. "Oh, you know how it is," she laughed airily. "Sometimes you just have to treat yourself." Mom and Dad helped a little. They're so supportive of my influencer careers. The words hit me like a freight train. Mom and Dad helped. The same parents who had just borrowed $3,000 from me for urgent roof repairs. That evening, I pulled up my bank statements, adding up every loan I'd given them in the past year. The total made my breath hitch. $47,000. Nearly my entire salary. But the real gut punch came when I checked Instagram again. Lisa, standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, dressed in designer clothes worth more than my rent. "Thank you, Mom and Dad, for making my dreams come true. Best parents ever. #blessed. My hands shook as I scrolled further. Dubai, Milan, the Bahamas. Trips I had unknowingly funded. Then, the final straw. A notification from a family group chat. Mom had sent a picture. Lisa, standing beside a brand new BMW at a luxury car dealership. "Congratulations to our baby girl on her new car. So proud." I stared at my own car, my 7-year-old Toyota. The one I maintained meticulously. The one I sometimes struggled to put gas in because I was too busy paying for my parents' supposed financial crises. Something in me snapped. No texts. No calls. I was going there. The drive to my parents' house felt longer than usual, each passing mile twisting my stomach tighter. But as I pulled into the driveway, I came to a screeching halt. A brand new Mercedes was parked where Dad's old truck used to be. For a moment, I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Then, as if in a daze, I climbed out of my car and approached the house. Laughter spilled from inside, light, carefree. Lisa's voice mingling with Mom and Dad's. Nothing like the desperate, pleading tones from their messages. The front door wasn't fully closed. Through the gap, I saw them in the living room, the same living room that had apparently needed urgent repairs last month. Mom raised a champagne glass, her bracelet, a diamond bracelet, catching the light. "The new car is perfect, Lisa, and next month's trip to the Maldives is all booked. I can't wait." Lisa giggled, and then, the words that turned my blood to ice. Sarah has no idea her emergency money is funding all this, right? Dad chuckled. She's always been the responsible one. So focused on her spreadsheets and savings, she never questions anything. Unlike you, princess. You know how to enjoy life. I froze. Every emergency. Every plea for help. Every promise to pay me back. A lie. Bile rose in my throat as I leaned against the doorframe, the weight of betrayal crushing me. Then, the door creaked open wider. 3 pairs of eyes snapped toward me. Mom's champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor, just like the last shred of my trust. Sarah. Lisa recovered first, her expression shifting from shock to something almost like guilt. We were just what? My voice was steady, cold, a sound even I didn't recognize. Just celebrating how well you've been scamming me. Dad stood, his usual smooth-talking expression sliding into place. Now, honey, it's not what you think. But this time, I knew exactly what to think. And I knew exactly what I was going to do about it. Mom stepped forward, her heels crunching against the broken glass. Sweetheart, please let us explain. I held up a hand, cutting her off. Explain what? That you've been stealing from me? That every emergency was just a way to fund Lisa's Instagram fantasy while I worked myself to exhaustion. Lisa scoffed, flipping her perfectly styled hair. Oh, come on, Sarah. Don't be so dramatic. It's not like you were doing anything with that money anyway. You just save, and save like some kind of robot. Not doing anything. I pulled out my phone, opening my banking app. Let me show you what I've been doing with my money. Or rather, what you've been doing with it. I read aloud, my voice cutting through the tension like a blade. Last month, $3,000 for urgent roof repairs. Funny, the roof looks exactly the same. The month before that, $2,500 for Dad's medical bills. Was that medical bill a first-class ticket to Dubai, Lisa? Dad stepped closer, his voice darkening. Now listen here, young lady. How long? I interrupted. How many of Lisa's vacations have I unknowingly funded? Mom wrung her hands, her diamond bracelet glinting. Sarah, you have to understand. Lisa has different needs. Her career as an influencer requires a certain lifestyle. We were just trying to help her succeed, while sabotaging me. Lisa rolled her eyes. Well, nobody asked you to be a martyr. I let out a bitter laugh. Your influencer career isn't success, Lisa. It's fraud. Dad paled. You wouldn't. I unlocked my phone, scrolling through my bank records. By tomorrow morning, I expect a repayment plan in my inbox. Or my next call will be to the police. Mom gasped. We're your parents. No, I said quietly. You're thieves who happened to raise me. I turned to leave, but paused at the door, looking back at Lisa with a smirk. Oh, and Lisa. She swallowed. You might want to start job hunting. As I stepped outside, a storm of voices erupted behind me. Mom's sobs, Lisa's shrill protests, Dad's frustrated shouts. But for the first time in years, their chaos wasn't my burden to bear. I slid into my car, exhaling as if I'd been holding my breath for a decade. The weight on my shoulders, the endless emergencies, the manipulation, the lies, lifted, leaving behind something unfamiliar yet liberating. Freedom. My phone buzzed. Another transfer request from Mom. $5,000. Urgent. I deleted it. Then, without hesitation, I blocked their numbers. Let them figure out their own emergencies for once. But this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. While they had been busy spending my hard-earned money, I had been busy too. And tomorrow, they would find out exactly what their responsible daughter was capable of. The next morning, I walked into Preston & Associates with my head held high. The shift was immediate. My colleagues noticed. My boss did a double take. The perpetual tension, the quiet exhaustion that had clung to me for years, was gone. In its place was something sharper, stronger. Sarah, Mr. Preston called from his office the moment he saw me. I had been waiting for this conversation. Sitting across from him, I pulled out the folder I had prepared months ago, just in case. Sir, Do you remember the discrepancy I flagged in the Harrison account? His eyebrows lifted. The one from 3 months ago. What about it? I did some digging. I slid the folder across the desk. It's not just a discrepancy. It's systematic fraud. Someone has been siphoning money through fake invoices, and I can prove it. As he flipped through the pages, his expression darkened. This is solid. He looked up sharply. Why didn't you bring this forward sooner? For a moment, I hesitated. The truth was, I had been too busy putting out my family's financial fires to focus on my own life. But that part didn't need to be said. I needed to be sure, I replied simply. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. You just saved this company millions. The board needs to see this immediately. 2 hours later, I stood in the boardroom, presenting my findings to wide-eyed executives. By lunchtime, I had a promotion, a substantial raise, and a new title, Head of Financial Compliance. My phone buzzed nonstop throughout the day. Call after call from my family, trying every number they could since I had blocked them all. I ignored them all, until an email arrived from Dad. Subject, let's talk. Sarah, your mother is devastated. Lisa can't stop crying. Is this really how you want things to be? We made some mistakes, but we're family. We can work this out. Please come home tonight so we can talk. Love. Dad. I typed back a single line. I'll be there at 7. Have your repayment plan ready. That evening, when I stepped into their house, there were no champagne glasses, no laughter, no designer dresses. Mom's mascara was actually smudged this time. Lisa's usual polished, social media-ready look was replaced with sweatpants. Dad looked like he hadn't slept. I sat at the kitchen table, setting my phone down deliberately. Before you start, I said, my voice cool and steady. I should mention, I'm recording this conversation. They visibly deflated. Sarah, please, Mom started. We're trying to make this right. Great, I said. Where's the repayment plan? They exchanged glances. Mom cleared her throat. Honey, we've been talking, and we simply can't pay back that much right now. Lisa's contracts depend on maintaining her image, and I held up a hand. Stop. I pulled out my laptop. I've prepared 3 options. They tensed. Option 1. You sell the Mercedes, Lisa's BMW, and liquidate the vacation property in Florida. I glanced at their stunned faces and smirked. Oh, don't look surprised. I found that too. That would cover the debt in full. That's ridiculous. Lisa exploded. I need my car. My followers expect. I didn't even look at her. Option 2. A legally binding repayment plan. 5 years. Monthly payments. With interest. Dad reached for the paper, but Mom stopped him. And option 3? She asked cautiously. I shut my laptop. Option 3, I said, locking eyes with them. I press charges for fraud. Every transfer. Every text. Every email. You knowingly deceived me for financial gain. That is criminal fraud. Mom gasped. Lisa's face went pale. You wouldn't, she whispered. You stole from your own daughter, I countered. Let's not pretend anyone here has the moral high ground. Dad's hands trembled as he picked up the repayment plan. 5 years. With interest, he confirmed. And, I added, one more condition. They waited. Silent for once. You tell everyone the truth. Your friends. Our family. Lisa's followers. No more pretending you're supporting her lifestyle. No more fake emergencies. Lisa gaped at me. But my influencer career will have to be based on something real for once, I interrupted. Imagine that. Mom started to argue, but Dad cut her off. We'll do it, he said hoarsely. All of it. Just don't cut us off completely, Sarah. Please. I stood, smoothing my blazer. That depends entirely on you. I picked up my bag. You have until tomorrow to sign the agreement and make the first payment. After that, it's option 3. The next morning, at exactly 9 a.m., I received an email, the signed agreement. Attached was proof of the first payment. At 9:15 a.m., I checked Instagram. Lisa had posted something new. No designer outfit. No exotic vacation. Just her, sitting in a plain room, looking uncomfortable but determined. The caption started, "Time for some honesty." It was a start. The next few weeks brought changes I never saw coming. At work, I thrived. My new department uncovered 3 major fraud schemes, saving the company millions. Mr. Preston joked that I had a sixth sense for financial deception. If only he knew where I learned it. At home, though, that was more complicated. Lisa's brutally honest Instagram post went viral, but not in the way she had hoped. Influencer admits to family fraud wasn't exactly the headline she wanted. Half her followers disappeared overnight. Sponsorship deals, gone. One evening, she stormed into my apartment, furious. "You ruined everything," she snapped. I didn't even look up from my laptop. "Pretty sure the fraud ruined everything, Lisa. I just exposed it." She flopped onto my couch, her last season's designer handbag hitting the floor. "I had to get a real job," she announced, like it was a tragic plot twist. In retail, I finally shut my laptop. Welcome to the real world. But somewhere between the struggle and the consequences, my family started to change. Lisa asked me about budgeting. Dad took extra work shifts. Mom started couponing. Then, 2 months later, a phone call. Lisa's boss. "Your sister is one of our best salespeople," she said. "We're considering her for an assistant manager position." That evening, I found myself outside my parents' house. Through the window, I saw them at the kitchen table. No arguments. No takeout containers. Just dinner. Together. Lisa opened the door. "We're having lasagna," she said. "Mom made enough for 4. I hesitated. Then, I stepped inside.